In the world of gaming, speed isn't just a luxury, it's a weapon. And when it comes to cutting load times, boosting responsiveness, and future-proofing your rig, nothing delivers like a high-performance M.2 NVMe SSD. In 2025, these drives are faster, more efficient, and more affordable than ever. Whether you're building a next-gen gaming PC or upgrading an older system, this list of the best M.2 NVMe SSDs for gaming will help you unlock peak performance. So in this video, we have compiled a list and reviewed the top 5 best M.2 NVMe SSDs you can buy in 2025. For more information on the products, we have included links in the description box below. Let's get started. Number 5. WD Black SN850X8TB. Yep, it's the WD Black SN850X. But the 8TB version, which was released much more recently than the one that previously topped this list. If you must have 8TB of SSD storage on a single stick, it's the drive to go. But it does have some caveats to be aware of. First of all, thanks to its use of 4 NAND chips instead of the usual 2, you do get lower 4K random read and write performance than many smaller drives. That means it's not the best pick as a dedicated gaming drive. Think of it as an ultra-huge storage drive that can also be used for gaming, and you're more in the ballpark. But if you spend a lot of time working with and transferring gigantic files, perhaps for video editing, photography, or asset management, and you're limited to a single M.2 slot, this mega drive is where you probably want to be. In our testing, we found it delivered close to stated performance, namely 7,100 megabytes per second reads and 6,590 megabytes per second sequential writes. That's seriously speedy in a conventional sense, making it a superb NVMe storage drive. Something else to be aware of, however, is the price. With an MSRP of $649, it's often cheaper to buy 2 4TB drives like the TEAMGROUP MP44 above, and they'll likely deliver better 4K performance to MT. However, if all you've got is a single M.2 slot and you don't mind paying the premium, the WD Black SN850X is a darn fine pick. While it has definite downsides, if 8TB in one stick is what you require, this drive is it. Number 4. TEAMGROUP MP44. Game install sizes seem to be ever increasing, don't they? It wasn't long ago that a 50GB install was a rarity, but these days, a big release can chew up 150GB plus of your precious storage space in one sitting. If you'd like to put storage space worries aside and get yourself a properly huge 4TB gaming SSD, the TEAMGROUP MP44 is my top pick. See that Lexar NM790 above? The MP44 makes use of much the same internals, with a larger dynamic SLC cache. While you can pick up the 4TB version of that drive, too. We've plumped for the TEAMGROUP by virtue of its combination of performance and pricing combined with such a huge size. There is the odd caveat to be aware of with this drive. However, it's got a lower thermal limit than the Lexar, which means you'll need to be aware of thermals in a particularly toasty PC to prevent it from throttling it back. However, if you've got good cooling or provide it with a heatsink, you should have nothing to worry about. Keep it cool, and it'll deliver 7,400 megabytes per second reads and 6,900 megabytes S writes. Although like the Lexar, its 4K numbers are merely fine, not exceptional. Still, here you get a huge amount of storage space and properly competitive overall performance for a price that often beats out even the Lexar drive in this particular size configuration. It's our top pick for a big drive at a small price. While the TEAMGROUP MP44 might not do anything spectacular, it delivers a serious chunk of storage space with excellent performance for less. Number 3. WD Black SN8100. The best PCIe 5.0 SSD for gaming is without a doubt the WD Black SN8100. Gen 5 SSDs are expensive. Sure, this one is no exception. Although it's well priced compared to the competent, but you're getting a whole lot of performance for that price. Here, in fact, this is the fastest SSD we've tried, full stop. It's also the first WD PCIe 5.0 SSD, and it's the first since SanDisk split off from Western Digital. Despite the WD branding, this is SanDisk through and through, featuring an entirely new proprietary controller, the SMI2508. This controller, plus the 218-layer BICS8, TLC 3D NAND and DRAM cache, all packed onto a single side of the drive. Mind, makes for a mighty powerful drive. Apart from having the fastest sequential read-write speeds, in his testing, Arzak found the SN8100 run at 119 megabytes per second, RND 4K read speeds, and 349 megabytes SRND 4K write speeds. The former is so much faster than other PCIe 5.0 drives we've tested that it might as well be in a class of its own. As Zach says, it's just monstrous. This maps onto gaming performance too, of course, with the drive having much lower load times and the effects of Shadowbringer's benchmark than other drives. It's simply a faster drive across the board. And it does all this without breaking too much of a sweat. Either 74 degrees is the highest we saw it reach. The only real downside is that at launch it only comes in 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes capacity, but higher capacity models will be available down the line. For all this, we might expect an extortionate price tag, but it's eminently reasonable. Admittedly, eminently reasonable is still expensive when we're talking about a Gen 5 drive, but if you want the fastest of the fast, this is most certainly where it's at. Now, number 2, Lexar NM790. The Lexar NM790 is our budget champion, a drive that delivers stunning performance for a very reasonable price. It achieves this by making use of some previously unknown components, but make no mistake, it's a powerhouse of an M.2 SSD, and the best budget pick by far. Prices on SSDs vary with the wind these days, but it's still possible to find this drive in 1 terabyte and 2 terabytes configurations for much cheaper than the rest. That's thanks primarily to its clever use of a cheaper controller, the Maxiotech MAP 1602A, and some YMTC 232 TLC NAND. You can also buy it in 4 terabytes config, although I've seen prices rise on that particular model, to the point where you'd be better off with the TEAMGROUP MP44 below if 4 terabytes is what you need. Forget all those letters and numbers for a second. What this drive achieves, with lesser-known components, is sequential read speeds of 7,400 megabytes per second and sequential write speeds of 6,500 megabytes per second. That manages to put the Lexar up there with some of the fastest Gen 4 drives we've had in our test benches, for a price that's often a lot less than the competition. You can even find one on discount fairly often, if you're prepared to keep an eye on our cheap gaming SSD page. Yes, SSD prices fluctuate a lot at the moment, but the Lexar is a reliable feature on our deal pages thanks to the phenomenal performance it provides for a more budget price point. And if you think reliability is a concern, think again. I've had a 2 terabytes version of this drive running in one of my main machines for the past 2 years or so, and it's still a flawless performer to this date. It might make use of cheaper components, but when they deliver this level of reliability and performance, don't be put off by the lack of brand recognition. Besides, it's a Lexar, and that's a pretty big name in the tech world, no matter which way you look at it. So, put your hands together for a superb M.2 SSD for less. When it comes to budget picks, the Lexar NM790 stands tall against the competition. Number 1, WD Black SN7100. The best M.2 SSD for gaming is the WD Black SN7100. It almost feels wrong to say that given how long the WD Black SN850X previously sat at the top of this list. But the SN7100 has swooped in to replace it, and it's done so incredibly successfully. You might be wondering why we didn't opt for a Gen 5 SSD in the top spot, given that they've been around for a while now and are the speediest NVMe drives on the block. The reasoning is simple. What you're looking for in a great M.2 drive is a combination of performance, heat management, and price. Gen 5 drives have the first of these sorted, and some have the second sorted, but the third is still a big issue. The SN7100 has pretty much all the benefits of the SN850X, but with some seeming cost cuts, it's single-sided, has no DRAM cache, and packs its NAND in more densely. Despite these seeming cost-cutting measures, the Kioxia 218-layer BICS 8 TLC NAND works wonders, keeping up with the SN850X in most tests and surpassing it in some. In particular, this SSD is snappier than any other Gen 4 drive we've tested on the random 4K read front. This is important because RND 4K performance is the most important kind of performance for gaming loading maps, assets, game saves, and so on. So this isn't just a fantastic drive in general, it's also particularly great for gaming. At launch, it was priced a little too high compared to the similar SN850X. But now it's cheaper than the SN850X, and the latter will likely be phased out before long anyway. With a fond farewell for that SSD, then, we can welcome in the SN7100 as its very worthy successor. With cracking performance and a very reasonable price tag, it's far and away the best M.2 SSD for gaming right now.
That concludes today's session, everyone. Trust this information was helpful. So, please like our video and subscribe to the channel for more updates. Wishing you a great day, stay safe, and keep progressing.